Hello and welcome to my tarot corner. So, yesterday reading led me to a feeling that we need a little bit of cleansing here. And what I want to do today is look at Harry, but not as his self reflection, because I don't believe that he actually sees himself when he's looking in the mirror. He does not really uh, know who he is. I'm going to look into his self sabotage, or how did he sabotage himself, and I'm going to come out from the supposition that he did sabotage himself. Now, I have to say that my feelings towards Harry are changing. At first I thought he was a victim. Then I felt that he was just as nefarious as his wife. When I looked into his wife's psyche and when I saw the devil there, I realized that it was probably something that he could not resist, because the devil has a lot of power to inflict on people and to convince people that that it's good for them, and he masquerades himself all the time. Now, various YouTube channels, especially the body language guy, but not only him, have shown how Meghan's mask is falling apart, and it is, because she is most of the time with a mask on her. Now, I did hear a story by someone who told a story about a narcissistic spouse, and how impossible it was for that person to understand that he was under this narcissistic spell, and he couldn't understand what is happening. Why are things so changing so much? So I do believe that in the beginning, Harry thought that Meghan was this angel sent to him by his mother, and that is why he believed that she is so close to his mother, so very similar to his mother. She managed to convince him in that. And what I'm going to look into is how did Harry got to where he got today. So first, I am using another animal tarot, and because it is a bigger reading, I am going to use a smaller version of the cards, and I just want to shuffle it a little bit longer, and then I will clean the deck and say my disclaimer, of course. So this is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It is open to interpretation. It exists as assumptions and speculation, and as such may or may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourselves. Okay, let's clear the deck. Okay, so first card is first. Let's start asking. So, how did Harry sabotage himself? How did he manage to get himself into a place where he's not wanted by his family? Nobody really likes him anywhere. How did he manage to get to this place? how is Harry responsible to his own demise, to his own failures? Sorry about the cards that are coming out. Let's just shuffle once more. So how is Harry self-sabotaging himself? And can he actually get out of it? So the first card is how the fact or the way that he is living his life right now, the way that he is, where he is, what he's doing, how does it affect his daily life right now? And what we're getting is the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords, that is a very difficult card because it's a card of someone who feels sick. Someone who feels that he needs some time off. He cannot make a decision. He cannot move forward. This is a card of someone who is really in a bad state. It's someone who is just lying there and is unable to get out of bed. This is very close to the Nine of Swords, which is worse because the Four of Swords does have some kind of an ability to at least feel that there is some kind of ability to wake up. But the three swords that are on top of him, who are those three swords? And I believe that is Meghan and the two children that are probably not their own children or not her children. These are swords that are on top of him, he's just waiting to fall and stab him. So he's in a really bad place, and that is how he lives his life right now. He pretends to be happy, but his mask is always coming down. He is never really happy. He really wants to just stay in bed and never get out. So that is the first card. And I am looking at the list of affinities for this card, as I always tell you, affinities are more important than the psychological interpretation. And this card has a very strong affinity to someone who is trying to run away from reality. And I think that this is exactly what he's trying to do. And naturally, this is someone who needs mental health therapy. So this is the first card, and this is how he's dealing with himself daily. The next card is how can he cope with everyday's dilemmas? Can he actually cope with everyday's dilemmas when they come up? Because everyday dilemmas do come up. So what can he cope with those? And if he can, how? And what I'm getting here is the Three of Cups. So he's running away to celebration, drinking, drugs, all of the things that you can just think about as the negative sides of celebrations. And the reason that I'm talking about the negative side of this celebration, it's because it comes right near the Four of Swords. And when a card that is blocking a positive card, it always takes out the negative aspects. So if the Four of Swords talked about running away from reality, the Three of Cups is telling us how. By drinking, by using drugs, by all sorts of things that are helping him run away from reality, because this is what he's doing. This is how he copes with his everyday dilemmas, with the things that he needs to make decisions. He just doesn't make those decisions. He lost trust with everyone. All of his relationships are superficial relationships. He's just chasing all sorts of pleasures. This is what he's doing right now. And this card has an affinity to dealing with problems, superficiality, in superficial ways. So this is an exact answer to the question, how is he dealing with his everyday dilemmas in a very superficial way. So this is the second card. And the affinity of this card is the feeling of being in a gilded cage. And this is something that I believe is following Harry for a long time, even before he married Meghan. And this is one of the reasons why it was so easy for Meghan to convince him that he's not satisfied. He always felt that he is living in a gilded cage, and this card shows that. And this is something that he said in interviews way before he met even Meghan, that he feels that he lives in a gilded cage. So this is the affinity of this card. And another way of seeing this card, another one of its affinities, is being unable to see the real faces of people. And this is another reason why he was taken by Meghan, because he couldn't see her real face. So that is the second card. Okay, third card. Third card is the card that tells us what does he need to do in order to let go of the things that are making him feel so bad. And what I'm getting here is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is the card that tells him that no matter what you do, it's not going to be very helpful, but you have to do something. If you want to get to the Six of Swords, which is the vacation, which will allow you some kind of rest from all of the mayhem that you are locked in right now, you need to take some kind of action. This is what this Five of Swords is talking about. The Five of Swords, it's a card that tells him that he has to stop sitting on the fence, that he has to stop letting his wife take the lead. And we see that he is letting his wife take the lead in everything. She's just pushing him away. And if Spotify weren't so insistive that he will be there and be present, she wouldn't even let him take that picture with that woman who she interviewed in her last podcast. So the only reason that she lets him even intervene is because someone else is pushing that. But this card is telling him that he needs to be the one who is the active person. He needs to take a stand. He needs to start doing things. And it tells him that if he doesn't do anything, then he will stay in the Four of Swords. This is why the Five of Swords comes after the Four of Swords. Because the Five of Swords is telling the person how he can get out of this situation. But if he doesn't start doing things, and doing things, that means doing things that are not connected to his wife, not connected to anyone else, things that he wants to do, things that he feels for, things that he loves. If he doesn't do those things and he doesn't take a stand on the things that are disturbing everyone, then he is going to stay in the Four of Swords. Now, the affinity of this card is to let others decide for you. So this is exactly what the Four of Swords tells us. And this is the affinity of this card. This card is a card that shows how difficult it is for him to take a stand, how difficult it is for him to get out of this very passive state that he's put himself in. So this card is telling him to stop that. But the affinity of this card is telling us how difficult it is for him, that he's afraid of getting hurt, that he is not taking chances, and he lets others decide for him. But he's not satisfied. He's not satisfied with what he has. But he lets others decide. He lets his wife decide. So then he can say, I'm not satisfied, but I'm not responsible for that. So it's this double sword, because you cannot take the cake and eat it and leave it whole. You cannot come out and say, I'm not responsible, I did not take those decisions, I am just running away. When you need to take a stand and you're not taking that stand because you are letting others put you in this stage. Okay, so that's the third card. Now the fourth card is how can he honor the feeling that he is sabotaging himself. So that is quite a complex question. So how can he honor his feelings without ignoring his happiness? So how can he actually, let's say this way, how can he honor the other people, that he's letting them decide everything with, or his family, without ignoring his own happiness? How can he get out of this gilded cage that he's trying to get out of? How can he not sabotage his wife, because he doesn't want to sabotage her? So what can we see about that? And we get the Tower. So actually he has no way of being happy if he doesn't let the Tower fall. That's the one thing that he can do. He needs to let the Tower fall. It's very hard for him. It's very hard for him to see everything that he has built toppling down, because he's not the one who built it. He just let others build it for him. But it's very hard to see that his marriage toppling down, everything that he has had for the last few years falling apart. But he sees it's happening. He sees that it's happening, and he just has to let it happen. And if he lets it happen, then he can be happy. He cannot be happy unless the Tower falls. And we see this with him all the time. We get with the wife, we get mainly the devil. With him, we mainly get the Tower, because everything that he has built was built on a lie. It was built on an act, a camouflage, a person that never showed her true face. And all of the people that around him are people that are yes men. So people that are telling him what he wants to hear. Nobody is real there. And that is why he feels so bad, because he feels that he's not around honest people. But his only way of being happy is to let the Tower fall. To let those foundations just shake until they all fall. Now, the affinity of this card is betrayals and divorce. So this is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to get a divorce. He needs to let the Tower fall. He needs to divorce. He needs to start building from the beginning and on stable ground, on stable foundations, and he needs to know how to do that. So this card shows us that because of his whole situation, the only way for him to get out of it is to let the Tower fall. So that's card number 4. Card number 5 is how can he limit his fear of failure? Because we see that he's afraid of failure. And we get the Ten of Wands, which is not an easy card as well, but we need to look at the positive aspects of this card in order to realize what can he do in order to not to be afraid from failure. And what this card is telling us is that he needs to try and try and try. And if he tries enough, then he will be able to tackle his fear of failure, because your only way of tackling your fear of failure is by failing. If you don't fail, you don't know how it feels, and when you don't know how it feels, it's a lot more difficult to deal with that. When you know how it feels to fail, then you know how to deal with it. Now, this is a card that is telling him not to take too much upon himself and to try not to be self-destructive. It's very difficult with everyone around him, with the people that are not letting him actually take a stand, do something. It's very easy for everyone that he's so passive. But this card is telling him that he needs to start doing things. He needs to try and experience failure in order to know what it is, so it's a lot less fearing when you know how failure feels. But it also tells him not to take too much upon himself and not to listen to bad advice. So this card this card has an affinity to a person who doesn't listen to his wife. It is written black on white, a person that doesn't listen to his wife. So this is what he needs to do. And I think that she is putting fears in him. She's making those fears seem a lot bigger, a lot more terrible. She is making him feel so much more afraid of failure, because she makes those failures seem as if they are terrible. But this card is telling him not to listen to his wife, because the wife might take revenge at him. So this card is also showing us that Meghan is vengeful and she might try to take revenge at him. And what he needs to be very careful about, because we know that she knows quite a lot about him. She probably knows about his drinking and about his addictions. And in any kind of divorce, she might use that. And most of us know that she's probably collecting a lot of information that she can use for the future. So this card is telling him, first of all, not to listen to his wife. His wife is a vengeful person that can very much try to hurt him by using the information that she knows about him. But it also tells him that his only way to tackle fear and to tackle fear of failure is to fail. And when you fail and you know that the demon is not that bad, then it's easier to do it the next time. So that's the card number 5. Now let's see what card number 6 says. And card number 6 is about limiting thoughts that are holding him back. What are those limiting thoughts that are holding him back and not allowing him, first of all, to be active and to let the tower topple down and to start experiencing failure? So what are those limiting thoughts? And it's doubts. 4 of Cups, that's a card of doubts. Doubts that are really making a person feel paralyzed. sometimes when you're full of doubts and you don't know that if you did the right thing, or if you didn't do the right thing. And I'm sure that his wife is cultivating his doubts, and it's really difficult for him. Now, just see how curious it is, because this card comes right next to the Three of Swords. So they also have some kind of, Three of Cups. So they also have some kind of influence on one another. So the Three of Cups, we can look at this card as a positive card that is trapped between two negative cards. And this makes this card also very bad. And it takes out all of the bad attributes of this card, and we see more and more how he's drowning into addictions, into drinking, into looking for all kinds of pleasures that are going to be his demise if he's not careful. So the Four of Cups is, as I said, it's a card of doubts. The doubts that can make a person really feel that he's how do you say that, deliberated, I think, anyway, feeling paralyzed. And these doubts are not allowing him to take those steps that he needs to take, the Five of Swords, to start doing things. And he's losing faith in everything. He's acting the wrong way because of that. And this is another card of a person who doesn't see reality as it is. So now, and he has trust issues, and we saw that in the past as well. This is a card of someone who has trust issues. He doesn't know who to trust, and he doesn't know when to trust. So all of these things are influencing his ability to take decisions, to get out of bed, to start being more active, and to do what he actually really needs to do, which is to let the tower fall. Now, if we're looking at the affinity of this card, it's about gossip with malice, and getting wrong advice. This is also a card of someone who is mentally unstable, depressed. All of these things are the affinity of this card, and because they suit this question so well, they are a lot stronger even from the actual psychological interpretation of the card, that means doubts. So it's more than doubts. It's actual depression. It's actual feeling or listening to all sorts of gossips with malice, and feeling that people are talking about you, knowing that people are saying bad things about you, and listening to the wrong advice. And as you can see by the Ten of Wands here and its affinity, that the wrong advice comes from his wife. Okay, next card. Next card is, wait a minute. So it's a little bit more of a description of the Four of Cups, because the next card is asking us, or it's asking the tarot, how does the Four of Cups actually limit his thoughts, and how does it really hold him back? And the answer is the Devil. So both the Devil and the Tower, both of them in the same spread, that is really very difficult. And the Devil is a card of all things darkness, addictions, lying, deceit, betrayals, all of the things that you can just think about. But when we're looking at how does the Four of Cups what is not allowing him to get over the Four of Cups, it's the Devil. And as we know, the devil is probably his wife. The devil is also the fact that all of the bad ways of behaving that he started utilizing in order to try and run away from reality, his inability to stay in a positive place. He is in a very, very negative place. This is why we see him so depressed all the time. This is why we see him he's never really happy. The laughter is never coming up to his eyes, as the body language guy says. And it's all because he, first of all, walked after the devil and took the devil's advice, which is have fun. You do everything that you want in order to feel good. Just let me do the work, and you know who is that. But also because he feels so bad, he feels that he's in a bad place. He feels that he is in a dark place. So it's not only being drawn by the devil, it's also feeling. The devil card has a high affinity to lies. This is not only lies that he's telling others, it is also lies that he's telling himself. But we saw that he and his wife probably never said one true thing. Ever since they left the royal family, everything that they say is a lie. Angela Levin just said that in the Oprah interview she counted 30 lies. This is also a card of listening to the wrong advice, to doing things without actually feeling that. So, as I was saying before, it's not only that he has chosen the way of the devil or that he's going behind the devil, it's his feeling that he's shackled and he's unable to get out of those shackles unless he lets the tower fall, is feeling that he is in a very, very dark place, in a very bad place. So if we're asking, and the question was, are those doubts, how does that hold him back? The answer is that those doubts led him to the devil. So now that I'm looking at backwards, I can see that the doubts were there even before he met Meghan. And that's probably because previous girlfriends did not want to get married, because he couldn't find happiness. And when Meghan came and he wasn't able to see her true face, as we can see by those cards, and she was the devil masking herself as the Hierophant, because as I told you, behind every devil there is an Hierophant that is looming there. So she was the devil, but she was masking herself as the Hierophant, calling him to do the right thing, which is what she thought was the right thing. So this card just shows us how both of these are going together. Those doubts led him to the devil, and because of the devil, he is completely paralyzed. He's unable to really do what the Five of Swords is telling him. Now, the Five of Swords is just near the devil, so it's badly aspected by the devil. So the Five of Swords, which is not an easy card as it is all of its bad attributes are coming out now, what did not come before. And the Five of Swords, when we're looking at the bad attributes, is about a person that is stalling, a person that is passive. He is unable to really let the tower fall. And because of that, because of his passiveness, because of his tendency to stall, because of his inability to act, he is falsely believing that nothing will help him. He gave up. And this is what the devil causes the Five of Swords. So because of the devil, we see that this is the only thing that he can do to help himself. And he's unable to do that because of the devil. Okay, next card is card number 7. And card number 7 asks, what can Harry do right now to take back control of his life? What is it that he can do? And what we're getting here is the World card. So the World card is a card of perfection, but it is also a card of ending something and starting something new. And it goes exactly together with the Tower. Once the Tower falls, he can rebuild something. As long as he is still holding on towards this tower, he's unable to start over. So this is what this card is telling him. If you want to get to free yourself from all of those bad feelings, all of the things that are paralyzing you, the things that are making you feel so bad, you need to start over. You need to close that door and open a new window. This is what the World card is talking about. And the World card is a card of, it's a good card. It's a card of starting something new. This is a card of perfection. This is a card of development. This is a card of starting new things. So this card is telling him to close the bad chapter of his life and start something new, start a new chapter, because he's able to do that. But what he will have to do is fight the devil. If he won't fight the devil, then he will not be able to start being active, and he won't be able to start something new. And in order to fight the devil, he will have to let the tower topple and fall. Okay, so this is a tarot. Okay, so after the tarot, let's see what his soul journey is. Not a very easy, but we can see how he himself caused most of his problems, because he let himself be led by someone who is not truthful, someone who is not helping him in any way, someone who is trying to make him a puppet. This is like Sumi calls him the ginger socket puppet. This is what he is. This is what she made him be. And I think it was the Royal Grift who showed the differences between how he was at the Invictus Games before Meghan and after Meghan. Even when he is all alone talking to someone in an interview, he seems like a completely different person. And even things that made him feel so good in the past, right now the devil doesn't allow him even to start feeling good about those things. Okay, so let's start by clearing the deck. And let's see, what is Harry's soul journey? What is his journey in the future shows us? And the card that I'm getting here is grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. Okay, so first of all, it's the grief of his grandmother that only now he can appreciate how warm she was to him, how much she loved him, and how much he misses her. But grief is also about losing the things that he's going to lose unless he starts something new. So letting the tower fall is not an easy process, and it includes grief. And starting, for example, experiencing failure is not easy as well, but it's part of life. So he's about to experience even more grief than he did in the past few months, on the past year, since he lost his grandfather and then his grandmother. His soul journey is full of grief, and his only way is to do what the world card is telling him to do. Let the tower fall, start something new. So this is it for Harry. I hope he listens. And if you liked it, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment, share the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.